The mother of his child believes Flanagan just did not want them to move on without him.
I give her baths, we lay together, we sleep together, and now I won't be able to do any of that anymore. I'm just trying to wrap my head around why. How could you do this to your little girl?
March 20th, 2023, Harris County, Texas. It was supposed to be an ordinary Monday morning. Parents were dropping their children off at daycare. Employees were beginning their shifts. Traffic moved through northwest Houston like it did every weekday. At around 10 o'clock that morning, 25-year-old Deontray Flanagan arrived at his 2-year-old daughter Zevaya's daycare and picked her up. Nothing about the pickup appeared unusual. No one working there could have known it would be the last time Zevaya would ever leave that building alive. Less than an hour later, Deontray drove to a Walmart where Zevaya's mother, Kirsten Watson, was working. What happened next would trigger one of the most disturbing child murder cases Texas had seen in years, and according to prosecutors, before it was over, a mother would be forced to watch her own daughter's final moments through a FaceTime call she could not stop. Deontray Flanagan and Kirsten Watson had recently ended their relationship. According to testimony presented at trial, the breakup had become increasingly volatile. Watson later said she had contacted law enforcement multiple times in the days leading up to March 20th because she feared Flanagan's behavior was escalating. She said he had threatened both her and their daughter, and she believed something terrible was going to happen. Investigators confirmed deputies had responded to previous calls involving threats and harassment. Watson later said she repeatedly warned authorities that her daughter was in danger, but she felt no one believed how serious those threats had become. On the morning of March 20th, after picking Zevaya up from daycare, Flanagan drove directly to the Walmart where Watson worked. According to prosecutors, he confronted her inside the store and demanded her cell phone and the passcode to unlock it. Investigators said Flanagan believed Watson had moved on with another man after their breakup and wanted access to her phone to prove it. When she hesitated, prosecutors said he struck her multiple times in the face while still holding their 2-year-old daughter. Watson handed over the phone. She wasn't trying to protect her messages. She was trying to protect her child. But even after getting what he wanted, Flanagan walked out of the store with Zevaya and drove away. Police were called immediately. Deputies quickly located Flanagan's vehicle, and what followed was a pursuit that would stretch for nearly 45 minutes and cover roughly 30 miles across Harris County. During the chase, investigators said Flanagan drove recklessly, crashed into other vehicles, and repeatedly traveled the wrong way down roadways. But inside the car, something even more horrifying was unfolding. Using the phone he had taken from Watson, Flanagan began making FaceTime calls, first to Kirsten, then to her father, Curtis Watson. What they saw would stay with them forever. The FaceTime call connected. At first, Kirsten Watson thought she might still be able to talk him down. She begged him to pull over. She begged him to stop running. Most of all, she begged him not to hurt their daughter. According to prosecutors, Deontray Flanagan wasn't calling to negotiate. He was calling to make sure Kirsten watched. As deputies pursued the Camaro across Harris County, Flanagan repeatedly held the phone toward 2-year-old Zevaya. Trial testimony described a scene no parent should ever have to witness. Kirsten and her father, Curtis Watson, pleaded with him through the screen as he allegedly assaulted the little girl inside the moving vehicle. Kirsten would later testify that she could see Zevaya struggling to breathe. She screamed. She begged. She told him over and over, "Please stop. That's your daughter. She loves you." According to her testimony, Flanagan looked into the phone and blamed her. "This is what you made me do. All you care about is that man." No matter what Kirsten said, nothing changed.
Man charged with murdering his 2-year-old precious daughter. He was arrested Monday after a chase in northwest Harris County. ABC 13's Jonathan Bruce is in our newsroom. And Jonathan, we are hearing from the girl's mother.
Yeah, Sam, we are. And as you know, the more we learn here, the worse it gets, ever since Sky Eye was first over that chase on Monday. Now, the girl's family says they had concerns about her safety for several days before all of this happened. In fact, last Wednesday, they say Deontray Flanagan picked up little Zevaya and threatened to hurt her then, but they say nothing was done. Now, Flanagan, of course, is now charged with murder. According to court records, he hit little Zevaya with and against a blunt object and choked her as well, we've learned on Monday. The little little girl's aunt just at a loss as to what the 2-year-old may have felt in her final moments.
She's probably just thinking, why? Like, Dad, what did I do? And she didn't do anything. She didn't do anything but love him and be a joy to the world. And he's just an evil person.
Back to what we learned before all of this happened, we learned that Zevaya's mother called 911 at least twice to report that Flanagan may hurt her or had threatened her daughter in the days before Zevaya's murder. The sheriff's office does confirm that they responded to 2 calls, once on March 15th for a terroristic threat and again on the 19th for telephone harassment.
They didn't want to pull nothing until she actually passed, and I told them over and over and over that something was wrong. They could have at least tried to find him or check it out, but no.
So we took these questions to the sheriff's office. Why no action was taken? Well, they told us the district attorney's office just determined there wasn't enough evidence to charge him. Now, officials say an internal investigation, by the way, is underway into what happened and whether or not all the protocols were followed on that day of Zevaya's murder. Now, as for Deontray Flanagan, he is due back in court today, didn't show up for his initial court appearance. We will be there today and let y'all know what happens. I'm Jonathan Bruce here in the news, guys.
Today, a judge doubled the bond of a father accused in the death of his child during a police chase.
Yeah, prosecutors say murder charges against Deontray Flanagan could be upgraded to capital murder depending on the results of the autopsy on his 2-year-old little girl. Tonight, we hear from the child's mother, Jason Miles, live from the Harris County Jail with the latest. Jason.
Hey there, Lynn. Yeah, the suspect, Deontray Flanagan, is now being held down here on a $2 million bond, increased this morning by a judge from $1 million. The mother of his child believes Flanagan just did not want them to move on without him. Photos of 2-year-old Zevaya reminds her heartbroken mother, Kirsten Watson, of the simple things she'll miss.
I give her baths, we lay together, we sleep together, and now I won't be able to do any of that anymore.
Zevaya's father, Deontray Flanagan, appeared in court for the first time this morning, 2 days after allegedly murdering the toddler.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around why. How could you do this to your little girl?
It happened, prosecutors say, after Flanagan got the girl from daycare, confronted Watson, who works at this Walmart, then snatched her phone. He later led deputies on a 45-minute chase with Zevaya unrestrained while allegedly FaceTiming Watson and Zevaya's grandfather, showing the girl being assaulted as they tried to reason with him.
I know in her mind, she probably was just wondering, what did I do? What are you doing this to me for? I love you. Why are you hurting me?
Curtis Watson was hopeful things might end peacefully.
But then he showed me the lifeless corpse of my granddaughter. I wouldn't wish that on anyone, and to have to go through that type of anguish and pain.
A tactical team eventually arrested Flanagan after a standoff, and prosecutors say charges may be upgraded to capital murder once his daughter's autopsy is complete.
It's my suspicion that Zevaya died due to strangulation, which would not be the result of any sort of blunt force impacts that she sustained in the car driving with the defendant.
Zevaya's mother says she was just trying to end things with Flanagan, but is now left without her only child as well.
All I was trying to do was provide for my daughter and move on, and I guess he just didn't want that. Didn't want that for us. So.
Meanwhile, deputies continued the pursuit. Investigators later said Zevaya wasn't secured in a child safety seat. As the Camaro sped through traffic, the toddler was thrown violently around the passenger compartment, adding to the injuries prosecutors say she was already suffering. The chase finally came to an end near St. Dunstan's Episcopal Church. After crashing into other vehicles, Flanagan drove into an open field and stopped, but he still refused to surrender. For nearly 20 minutes, deputies and SWAT officers surrounded the Camaro. Negotiators tried to bring the situation to a peaceful conclusion. Inside the vehicle, Zevaya remained trapped with her father. When SWAT officers finally moved in, they pulled the 2-year-old from the car and immediately began life-saving efforts. CPR started almost instantly. A medical helicopter rushed her to the hospital. Doctors did everything they could. It wasn't enough. 2-year-old Zevaya Flanagan was pronounced dead.
At 5 o'clock, here's what happened. Scary moments outside the courtroom where a Houston man is on trial for murdering his 2-year-old daughter. Just a few hours ago, during a break in the case at the Harris County Family Law Center, watch this. Deontray Flanagan lunges at our photojournalist camera. Take a look at the video. Here's the deal. Our photographer says Flanagan was coming from the court in leg shackles but no handcuffs when he went for his camera, knocking it to the side. You see what happened. Deputies quickly put Flanagan on the ground. Right now, we're waiting to find out if he'll face additional charges. In the meantime, we can tell you our photographer is okay. And as it relates to the case, the jury is now deliberating.
The medical examiner would later determine that Zevaya died from blunt force injuries and compression to her neck. Prosecutors argued those injuries were inflicted during the chase, while Karsten Watson watched helplessly through FaceTime. Screenshots from the video call, along with testimony from Kirsten and Curtis Watson, became some of the most powerful evidence presented to the jury. The investigation that followed left prosecutors convinced this had never been a crime of impulse. They argued it was an act of revenge. According to the state, Deontray Flanagan had become enraged after the relationship ended and believed Kirsten Watson had moved on with someone else. Prosecutors said everything that happened on March 20th, the confrontation at Walmart, the assault, the theft of her phone, the police chase, and the FaceTime calls was part of a deliberate effort to inflict as much pain as possible on the mother of his child. The Harris County District Attorney's Office charged Flanagan with capital murder. After hearing days of testimony and reviewing the evidence, the jury returned with its verdict. Deontray Flanagan was found guilty of capital murder. Under Texas law, the conviction carried an automatic sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. Following the verdict, members of Zevaya's family spoke publicly about the loss they continue to carry every day. For them, no sentence could ever replace the little girl whose life ended before it had truly begun. Zevaya Flanagan was only 2 years old. She should have grown up surrounded by birthday parties, first days of school, bedtime stories, and the ordinary moments every child deserves. Instead, her life became the center of one of Harris County's most heartbreaking murder cases. The evidence presented at trial showed how one act of anger destroyed countless lives in a matter of minutes. For Kirsten Watson, the pain did not end when the jury announced its verdict. She will spend the rest of her life remembering the final moments she shared with her daughter, not in person, but through the screen of a phone. Rest in peace, Zevaya. Thank you for watching The Grim Watch. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more true crime documentaries. See you in the next video.